Yo, what's up? So I wanted to tell you the biggest thing when it comes to photography that is the hardest aspect of photography, at least for me. This is a really blue outfit. Hopefully you'll get something out of this. Roll the intro. I'll tell you what it is using this guy right here. Like I said, I wanted to give you a couple of points and maybe a couple of stories if I can come up with something to explain to you why I think that this piece right here, this little guy right here, is the hardest part of street photography. And if you can master this, you can master anything when it comes to street photography, whether you're using a film camera like this on 35 or a medium format 6.4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 120, 110, whatever all the other different variations are, or something digital like this. I have a couple of ideas that I think will make it a little bit easier for you, especially with street photography where it matters the most. So if you didn't see my last video, I basically went through a little bit of this, how I went through my story about going out multiple times with my film camera and coming back with complete garbage, absolute trash. And they would have been pretty decent photos had I actually nailed focus. Even I did some street stuff. Maybe I'll show you a clip right here. Where I actually was able to get a couple that were moderately okay and would have been phenomenal photos had the focus been on point. So one tip that I want to give you when it comes to street photography and focus, even on digital cameras, and you're going to run autofocus, because some lenses just aren't that fast. And that doesn't mean you need to pay more for lenses that are insanely fast with their focusing system. It just means you need to take just a little more time to do it. And in street photography, that can be really different because you're not able to do that. So in architecture, the building's not going to move. When you're doing cars, the car doesn't move, or it might move, but you can take photos of parked cars. I guess that's my point there. And in portrait photography, you're able to direct your subject, your person, to do what you want them to do, and they'll sit right there and do their thing. This is a terrible pose, but you get the gist. If you say put your hand on the back of your head, they're going to sit there and do this for as long as you need them to, for you to get that photo over and over and over again. Wedding photographers, I guess, is very similar to that, except when you're actually in the wedding, then it's more like candid stuff. That can be a little bit different. So maybe the first part of that, you'll understand. Street photography, however, is completely different. So in that aspect, what I'm trying to do is more documentary style, more human life kind of stuff, like living in cities or living in an area. It doesn't have to be a city, but where I shoot mainly are larger cities because I can find more people for that. But what comes with that is being able to understand the human element in both yourself and the other person, which is kind of what I talked about in the last video, so I won't go into that. But what I will go into is being able to nail that focus when you need it to. So my biggest tip, if you don't watch anything else, I just hit the mic again, I always do it. Your biggest tip when it comes to film photography, digital photography, manual focus, autofocus, is taking your time. So what this means in street photography is seeing what's coming down the road, so to speak, before it actually happens. So if I'm going to set my scene, I'm going to find my location that I want to shoot, no matter where it is, before I want my subject to get there. This is the biggest piece, for me at least, when it comes to making a good street photo, where I'm able to do something like this, something that I'm able to plan. These come out typically not always better, but it's a lot easier, especially starting out versus like where you're running and gunning through the streets of like New York and you're just firing and firing and firing. Completely different aspect. I haven't run into that so much. Every once in a while, the city is just absolutely filled and you can do that. But when you have those days on a random Wednesday and you're going out to shoot in whatever city, and there's some business people walking around, there's a couple of people with dogs, there's just people at a cafe, there's not a whole lot going on. So there's not this hustle and bustle where you get all of these opportunities to shoot. So you got to make your opportunity. This is the point I'm trying to make here, because by making your opportunity, you're able to get those photos. So don't let just a random Wednesday take away from the fact that you're not going to shoot. Like, it's cool to shoot on Wednesday. There's things happening. You just have to make them work for you in this aspect. So make those shots before your subject gets there. So when you frame something up, and this is going to be your shot, whatever's right here, your person is going to walk this way, or they're going to walk in front of you, whatever the thing is, or they're walking through it, and you want to catch like that silhouette as it goes past. Completely up to you how you want to do it. But the idea is still setting up that photograph before your subject gets there with street photography. And think of this more like a planned shot. So in studios, you do the same thing where you get to control sort of the outcome because you get to control the inputs. In this aspect of street photography, you get to do the exact same thing. The only difference is you don't know what your subject's going to be, but you do have your frame. So when you get that subject that matches that frame that you want, this is how you make that photo. This is how you get that studio ability in a different way. So with manual focus, autofocus, whatever the thing is, being able to nail the focus is the prime aspect of the photograph. You can fix composition nowadays in Lightroom or in Photoshop. You can fix exposure to a huge degree both ways, under and overexposed, but what you can't fix is your focus. You want that to be nailed in camera the best you can, and then you can play with it, because everybody knows when you crank that clarity and you crank that texture slider, it looks so cheap. It looks horrible. Don't do that. But what you want to do is actually nail the focus inside the camera. By doing this, you will come out with a much better photo. So practice that more than anything else. Everything else you can continue to work on as you needed to, but focus for a photo, in my opinion at least, will make or break your photo. Everything else you can almost fix. So there's like this little thing that I say in my job, in my little 9 to 5 that I do, that there's nothing that I can do that can't be fixed. There is no mistake I can make that can't be redone or looked at later and redone, whatever the thing is. So for street photography and focusing in general, that's about 90% true. There's pretty much everything you can fix, but that focus. You need to be able to focus that camera and have that photo in focus for what you're shooting, or else it's just gonna be a bad photo. And in that case, you won't get that same opportunity again. You may get something like it, but you won't get that same opportunity, which is why you and I and whoever else watches this, we get into street photography, because it's a moment, it's an opportunity in life, in that day, at that time, that maybe no one else got to see, and you get to save it and share it with whoever you want to. So by doing that, by getting that in focus, you're able to share that moment the way you saw it, the way you want people to see it. Yeah. If you like this one, make sure you let me know. Leave me a comment. You got to hit it. Hit that thumbs up button. Let other people know you liked it. Subscribe if you want to. You know the YouTube spiel. I appreciate all that you do. This is a new channel. I appreciate everything. It super helps me out. I try to respond to all the comments because I like having that dialogue. Let me know what you like, what you dislike, what you know, what you don't know. Let's have a dialogue in the comments right below. If you need anything else, obviously, let me know. I'm on all the other socials, and I appreciate all of it. Thank you so much, and I'll do the little peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.